I've seen other people kind of express this concern about Ryzeal, which I personally think is like a bit misguided on some level, and let me explain my reasoning, because like it's kind of like when you compare Maliss and Ryzeal, like which one of these decks have been or are healthier for the game? Like a deck that basically cannot go second to save its life in Maliss, but going first, it has most of its choke points in a card that is basically uninteractable with, and in the form of Whitebinder, and it's extraordinarily hard to break their board for that reason. So basically, if you go second versus Maliss without the right hand floodgate hand, I think Konami was trying to make Ryzeal and like actually put in a deck that provides a lot of interactivity, and that's kind of why I think it does at the end of the day. Like for better or for worse. So it's like, what would we prefer? These FTK decks like Centurion with like with Calamity, you know, Snake Eye, Yubel, which these decks are basically impossible to go second against unless you see like 2 to 3 hand traps. Yeah, like Murmal, which is, it's just like, I love Murmal, but it's like I love how like we're just putting in more decks that just like basically cannot go second in their engine, but just like FTK going first essentially. So
Yeah, they're just like so impossible to interact with profitably.
yeah, exactly. So like it's one of those things where like I think Ryzeal is actually a step in the right direction. Like you can take a board breaker to a Ryzeal board and start playing the game. Then they have hand traps, but hand traps, at least your that becomes the hand trap mini game, right? And so I and that's a whole nother conversation. If you're losing to Ryzeal, like, I mean, if you're running a breaker deck, you should be 100% fine against that deck, in my opinion. It's just like when like Maliss is like also the third of the meta, like if you have breakers versus that deck, you're doing nothing against it. I think Maliss should be the deck people are hating on, honestly. Like, I do think Maliss should be, like, we see in the OCG, it's currently the best deck after they put X to 1 and they hit Allure to like 1. I'm pretty, or maybe it's at 2, I forgot. I think it's at 2. Maliss is gonna have to get hit even more, because it's like the deck quote unquote can't go second with its engine, but it still has upsides. It still has access code talker. It still can run like Dominus Impulse and, you know, like 15 non-engine. So it's like overall it's still going to be probably like post Ryzeal hit the best deck if they don't do something more about it, in my opinion, like putting like one of the names to 1. And they're about to get more support anyway, so they're gonna have to probably put whether it's Dormouse or the White Rabbit to 1.